Okay, and I'm back. So the reason why I told you that little part about that person getting high and then like spilling the beans about what they were like, what I started realizing was they're not actually teaching this person that. This person is identifying what was happening in the meetings whenever they're under those lights listening to that music and all that weird stuff. But where that brings me to is the first thing that the doctor's office did was they cut me off my psych meds. Now, mind you, this was not my doctor. This was the administration. This is the office people, or I know who it was, and I even know why. And I have proof, but nobody wants to listen to me. That's beside the point. And it was about greed. They assumed I was lying, and I wasn't, but neither here nor there. Uh, to cut me off my psych meds is still going to cause issues, even though I wasn't using them for that. What I was on was Cymbalta, and it was helping me with neuropathy. Because drugs like Lyrica and gabapentin were not good for me, and even though this was in the same wheelhouse, it's not quite the same formula. If we stay in a system where you're operating off of good medicine, if there is a such a thing, and I just at this point I I actually believe that Western medicine is the biggest hoax, because if you weren't believing that you were going to die in 100 human years, we would actually have 1,000 years. This is why those people in the beginning of the Bible were living to be 6, 7, 800 years old, because they weren't under the Egyptian curse. That it is a choice. You either unlock the Christ blood in you, since we're all made from the singularity, or you don't. And when the Father says a mustard seed of faith, a mustard seed of faith, that's because there are so many people who um, they learned the Bible and they learned how to worship the Father and Son the way the church teaches. But the Father checks everybody's heart. So that's how you're going to be judged. He's going to look at your heart. This is why you need to learn how to release. This is what a lot of people aren't telling you. And it is very sad, because there are many who know. And before anyone gets mad because, oh, well, I watch this person on TV or I do this and they're not saying anything, usually it's because they're under a binded contract. They can't talk about it. Kind of like the Anbu Black Ops in Naruto. Just saying. Uh, when they yanked me off my psych meds, though, the problem was is I did at that time start hearing pitches and things that I wasn't hearing, and not voices, but I kept waking up every morning and I kept having this like uncontrollable need to either want to hurt myself or hurt a bunch of other people. Kind of weird. Hold on, it's going to get worse. This goes on for like 8 months. And luckily, I am connected to the Father, and I do pray about it. Never had to show any of you people what I was doing. This is just me. It's just me. I talk to God because I'm talking to the air all the time. Before, I wasn't allowed to tell you I was talking to a spirit. Now, he's like, oh no, tell him. But you also got to remember that the Father had, this is funny, he is the one that told me that it was all right for me to just start saying, hey, everybody, did you know that the immortals walk amongst us? Did you know that this could happen and that could happen? So, and again, instead of me running outside with a sign and trying to prove myself, I don't need to. He wanted to know if I was going to do the mission. I stepped up and I did it. That's all it was. I did my part. And every word I've said is true. And, you know, it is what it is. Y'all will find out soon enough. However, 8 months, I kept hearing this strange repeated message. And at the same time, I'm waking up with images that were not mine. Guess what? When you have my timeline, you didn't have regular Christmases. I haven't had a birthday since I was 4 years old. So, where are these images coming from? But the hurt yourself and hurt other people, hurt large masses of people, kept coming, and I kept fighting it back. And then one day I woke up, 444 as I say this, I wake up and my mind is clear, fresh, defogged. Why? Because that's the day that I turn on a television and another person with a silver SUV plowed through the OSU homecoming parade. When they started cutting people off of their pain meds and psych meds, and of course there was a huge rise in suicides, there was a reason for that. Just like the COVID. When COVID went around, it doesn't matter to me how it got out, if it's a conspiracy, none of that bothers me. I'm thinking about the way the virus actually operates, and then I had to go back and realize that I was watching it be explored, for a better choice of words. Uh, it was interesting. The very next thing I get cut off of course, because I didn't go out and do my crime, I guess, that would be the pain meds. They're steadily trying to push me over the edge. However, my father said that he would heal me, and I believed him. 555. And guess what? He did, because me, I have not had my leg re-broke and reset, so my back isn't straight. Yet, I don't take anything for pain. And not only that, I have full range of motion, which I didn't have before. I draw all the time, as you guys know. And what's so great about that is because for almost like the last decade, I was having to go to bed every night with braces on my hands. And then I would still wake up in the middle of the night thinking that somebody was holding a blowtorch on them. This got really, really bad last year. Actually, a year and a half, when I was really, really sick. I mean, according to Western medicine, and definitely according to how I felt, I was dying in every possible way. I've done this before, and it always resulted with me being in the ER and then having to be fixed. The reason why I had to do that is because, just like all the rest of you, this hadn't happened. So, and this wasn't something in me that I wasn't doing properly. This was because I was supposed to, I'm his guinea pig. I was supposed to check all this stuff and then help with spirit figure out the whys. So again, one of the whys that Western medicine didn't work on me so well is because it turns out that my blood has Chickamauga blood, and that was a Native American tribe that almost got obliterated. Most people don't even know about it, and the sad part is the reason why they almost got completely wiped out was because it was one of the very, very few Native American, if you'll use that term, tribes that was settled. They were not nomadic. Many of the other tribes worshiped the spirit and they worshiped the mother, so they moved with the seasons. This one was settled, and because of that, they almost got wiped out. So, when all the Native Americans are put on reservations, moved off their sacred lands where they can't open up portals anymore, when they're turned into basically a second-class citizen in and on the land that they were of first, guess what? There's not a lot of practice on their blood for Western drugs. Who else has problems with Western drugs? Oh yeah, that's right. That would be people of darker color. And guess what? Just like Native Americans, what system is in play? What is the wine press, boys and girls? Prison, hoods, the division between black and white, done by the leaders. And, the sad part about that is when black and white don't unite, it's not good for any other shade in between. Interesting, huh? But guess what? You also can't do a lot of blood experiments, or, that's not what we would call it. We would say it's research. Does this cholesterol drug work for this group of people or whatever, How can you have a drug that's going to be good for you if you don't have enough people to go in and do the research studies because everybody's in prison? Or they're just unaware. Here's another one. It's so interesting. And it's so sad every day I'm waking up to more and more lies that, have been here in our face the whole time. And then the sad part is to have to go to a book that by Satan's code was purposely chopped up and separated in order to, every word is true. I mean, I read it recently because I never got to read it before. Every word is actually legit. It's just being misrepresented. And everybody's being taught to, you know, God is Santa Claus, Jesus is the Easter Bunny, and that's a book of bedtime stories. When in actuality, the Word is real, the Word is living. God is in the air we breathe, above, below, beyond. And when you think about what makes air, well, what's in water? And then the air and the water is also found in what? The soil, which is also the clay. And what is a native again? Person of the land. It's interesting, isn't it? So, food for thought, people. You know, mind what you're eating and definitely mind what it is you're listening to, because they are doing a lot of frequency things. Some of that has cut down recently, but those 5G towers, it's actually meant to create a disturbance. They're trying to build a lower frequency than what we should be actually operating on, and that's to keep the veil up. But my dad said, your dad too, by the way, but yeah, he said we could kick that board right off the table and make him redo a whole system. And I went, okay, I'm in. So he wanted me to share that with you. There it is. Thanks.